Hey, you guys, it's your girl, Dennise Brown, and I would like to welcome you to Let's Talk Truth, the podcast where we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. In this episode, we will be discussing life as a performing artist with our special guest, Symone.
Hey everybody, my name is Olivia, known as Liv Symone on social media, in my profession, all of that. I'm one of Denise's best friends. We met at House
Hey.
back in, I don't even want to take it back there, but we've known each other for a little while, for a long while actually. And yeah, we studied musical theater together, and here I am, still best friends. And yeah, I'm excited to be on her show. I'm excited to be, I guess, the first guest on the show, right?
Yeah, you are. So you're the first guest. And I guess because most of the guests that I have are people that I know personally. Real quick, we can get into how we met. So me and Liv met in 2010, right after we graduated from high school. During the summer, we were auditioning for the Howard University dance department, and their auditions was during the summer. So real quick, so we get there for this like 3-day, 4-day audition, and we meet each other, and it's like, oh, hi. It's
And
like,
you're
oh,
from Jersey, so
yeah. It's like, oh, where are you from? It's like, oh, I'm from Jersey. I'm from Jersey. So
mhm.
like, we was just mad hype, and then once we got into the audition process, and I guess during class we started to peep each other. I'm like, oh, like she actually pretty good. And then
I have
our personalities kind of clicked, and it's been
bliss.
bliss. So that's just the quick background of our story. We spent 5 years together at Howard University, and Olivia is now a working professional dancer, actress, singer, and she is also a mother. So she can get into a little bit about that, about what she's currently doing. And even things that she may have, coming up, just whatever, up to you. So first of all, get into like things that you've done professionally after college, because we did a lot of maintenance stuff at college. We'll have another episode where we talk about college.
Okay, that's the episode I'm waiting for. Um, okay, so professionally, so like shortly after graduation, and like very shortly, probably like a month, if even that, I got an email from our the chair of our department about um Shakespeare Theater Company, a very well known theater company down in DC, was having auditions for Kiss Me Kate. And Alan Paul was the director. Michelle Lynch was the choreographer. And I was like, oh, this might be fun, at like however old I was. Like, why not? So it was a local audition, showed up to the audition. Um, Danced. We did 2 dance combinations. There were a lot of girls, a lot of other girls there. It was my first time at like a real professional
And
audition.
what style of the audition, like what style of dance was it for the
We did
show?
2 combinations actually. The first one was a tap combination, and then the second one was like a theater jazz
Okay.
combination. So yeah, that's actually the audition where I met a lot of the professionals who I then later on was auditioning with all the time in New York with. That's when I first met some of them. So yeah, so did
I'm
that.
sorry. I'm trying to get my live going too. If I look distracted, I'm just trying to get this situated too.
Okay, you good. So yeah, did that. And then I had also auditioned for like did some open calls at some of the theaters, Signature Theater, etc. down in the DMV area. And next thing I booked was Jelly's Last Jam, which to this day is still my all-time favorite show that I've ever done. I love being with a bunch of Black people. It was an all-Black cast. I love Matt Gardner, the director. And then yeah, Jared Grimes, the choreographer. It was just a bunch of like crazy talented people, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I haven't had that. I mean, I've had fun on every job that I've had, but to this day, that's hands down
Nice.
my favorite. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember the pictures from there. The pictures from there was really nice, and all the pictures from there, you was always super, super cheesy. So
Oh my
I
god,
knew you was having bad
it was
fun.
everything. It was everything. And I made some lifelong friends, you know, people in the business and everything. So yeah. And then after that, um, Alan Paul again with Shakespeare Theater Company had me come in and do some work with the Romeo and Juliet production. And yeah, that was fun. It was nice to be around Alan again and nice to meet. It was a nice change of pace from doing musical theater to going into straight up acting, straight up Shakespeare.
Yeah, I
Again,
didn't even know you did that.
yeah, there were some, oh my gosh, the cast was incredible and they have since gone on to do so many amazing things. I still keep up with them. Incredible.
That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I worked with Matt Gardner again doing Caroline or Change down there, which was another black show. There were a couple white people, but I love them. They were great.
That
Uh
was the one I came down to see.
yeah. And that again, I love working with Matt. It was an incredible experience. I had so much fun doing that as well. I played the radio with Felicia Curry and Kara Tamika Watkins. If y'all are watching, I don't know, but shout out to my girls. Um, yeah, and so then after that, it was what 2017.
Hmm.
Yeah, the beginning of 2017, me and one of my other best friends slash one of our classmates, BB, we took the leap and we said we're going to New York. So we rented a U-Haul, packed up everything that we owned, got on the road. We were going to New York thinking that we had an apartment. Like we were like, we got this place, we're good, we're Gucci, we moving in. We get like we're on the highway and we're probably like 3 hours away, no, like 2 hours away from New York, and we get a call and they're like, hey, so yeah, y'all don't have anywhere to live. And it was like,
Nice.
huh? Like literally everything I own is in this car. So you know, it was I usually tend to like kind of stay pretty level headed in situations like that. I'm just kind of like, you know, go with the flow. Like it's gonna be fine. We're gonna figure it out. It was funny because
Hmm.
Phoebe, I love her to death, but we are so opposite in that
As
way.
I said, I know BB
And I'm,
was nearly about to have a heart attack.
yeah, but it everything ended up working out as I said, Phoebe. Um, and we ended up getting this apartment up in Brooklyn, Flatbush.
Oh, Nick Beauregard just joined the
Oh, hey,
live.
what up,
And
Nick?
for you guys who don't know, we're sitting here. I know I don't have this station well, but we're talking to Miss Olivia Russell for our first guest episode of Let's Talk Truth, the podcast. So make sure you guys tune in this January to catch her episode. Um, yeah, that's why you guys can't see her right now, because then you won't need to watch the show. So make sure you tune in to her episode. All right. My bad.
Yeah. So dang, where was I? Oh yeah, moved to New York. We got this little apartment above a Haitian restaurant.
Wait, is that the apartment of death of doom?
Oh girl. I mean, when you say that over my lifetime, how many? Let's be honest, girl.
No, was that the dreaded apartment?
But what'd you say?
Was that the dreaded apartment with the rodent problem?
His apartment. I mean, you know, moving to New York, you have to kind of prepare yourself for the fact that you might see a mouse or, you know. But we're not even gonna go there. It was a rough
It
introduction.
was quite an experience.
Okay, very rough, but we made it. We lived to tell the tale. Um, yeah. So then what? Oh yeah. So then I jumped through a million hoops trying to find like the perfect like work slash audition scenario, which was definitely a struggle. It took a lot of time because, you know, when I first got there, I figured, oh, I'll do something that I know, like I've done it a million times. I worked with kids at New York Kids Club, taught dance, gymnastics, like a bunch of like fun physical
Mm-hmm.
activities with kids. Um, but the thing about that is my schedule was like, you know, 8 a.m. until 3 o'clock, you know, 4 times a week. So then it was kind
Yeah, it doesn't
of
quite
like,
work.
I didn't move to New York for this. So we're going to have to revamp and come up with another plan. And so, yeah, that's when I was like, okay, let me try the nightlife. Let me try to work at night. Again, it was
It wasn't working.
a no. Because, you know,
So what, you were serving, right?
I was a hostess and I got promoted to be a server, and I did terribly as a server because the job was just so crazy, crazy, crazy high pressure.
I just got a flashback of Carolina Kitchen.
Remember we got in trouble with Carlos and we were like crying.
Me and Olivia worked at a restaurant I said in Jersey City, in DC together, Carolina Kitchen, and that's going to be a part of our episode about our college years. It was surprisingly stressful
but we had some very fun times.
We did have fun, but I just picture like those stressful nights where you said that you was a terrible server. I just pictured you just like going through Carolina Kitchen like mad flustered because
I got better and ended up being good. But that job did not prepare me for the job that I had in New York. That there was no preparation. That
you didn't have to say welcome, welcome, welcome.
Girl, no. It was a whole lot of stuff and it was terrifying. I'll say welcome, welcome, welcome a million times a day over doing what I was doing at that job. But you know, the manager ended up getting fired as he deserved. So moving on. So yeah, so that, like I said, that didn't work because my hours were now like 4 p.m. until like 4 a.m. I lived in Brooklyn. My job was in Chelsea in Manhattan. So I'm on the train for an hour and a half. And so I'm not getting home until 5. Sometimes I got home and literally the sun was up as if it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
That sounds like me driving for lifts, like going home and the birds is literally chirping and up.
Exactly. So yeah, it just got to a point where it was like, well, I'm going to take a nap and get ready for this audition. I did it a couple times and I was like, I cannot sustain. I'm on 2 hours of sleep and now I look bad and my brain is like not, you know what I mean? It just wasn't. So I ended up becoming a nanny. And that was the perfect scenario because I was going to my auditions. I was meeting the casting directors, doing all the things I was supposed to be doing. And then I was just going to pick up this little kid in the Upper East Side, wealthy family. He was a great kid. To this day, I'd like sometimes think about that little kid. And, you know, I was only with him like 3 hours a day. And so that left plenty of time for me to do all of the things that I actually came to the city for, actually, you know, to focus on grinding at the auditions, focus on, you know, what my goals were that I had set out to accomplish in New York. So yeah, like I said, I was auditioning real heavy. And, you know, I was establishing relationships with casting directors. I was getting called in for things and I was getting called into the private auditions. I wasn't even having to go to the EPAs and you know, it was like nice to be like, oh, so these are the exclusive auditions. I get it, you know? And it was cool. I've been in some callbacks with some fierce Broadway girls, like fierce down the wire callbacks, you know? And so then finally I ended up booking the Aladdin tour, the Disney Broadway Aladdin tour. And yeah, and that experience completely changed everything. Like everything. You know, and what's crazy is that initially I got the offer. I remember they called me, the casting director called me and was like, "Hey, Olivia, can you talk?" And I was like, "Can I call you back? I'm getting my hair done." I was literally in the middle of getting my hair blow dry. And I know when I tell people this, they're like, "What? You told that casting director you had to call him back?" I was like, I mean, it was either that or here a blow dryer, but probably something I wouldn't do again. Even though, he laughed about it and thought it was funny. And, I called him back. He presented the offer. And there were a couple of things in my mind, a couple of like doubts and other things I was considering. So I was like kind of sat on the idea for a while. And I ultimately, hey, Malachi, he's so big. Oh my God, he's so tall.
Yeah, he had to be on my business.
Mm-hmm.
He just wanted to see what was going on. That was all. Now he's ready to leave.
Nothing.
He's done.
But yeah, so he called me and said, hey, we want to give you the offer. I said, let me sit on it and call you back. People in the industry, friends, were like, girl, what are you doing? Are you dumb? And I was like, just listen, I got some things I gotta decide, and I don't know, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up turning the offer down. I said, no, I'm not going. After I hopped from 3 different jobs, struggle busing, I was like, oh, thank you so much for the offer, but I'm actually gonna pass. And they called me back. Oh, that was the email. They called me back and left a voicemail and said, hi, Liv. This is such and such casting, and I need you to give me a call back because I don't think you understand what you're saying no to right now. So just give us a call back.
Exactly. Like, are you sure? Like, you know what you're doing?
I know. I mean, because I had so many other things that were in my head. Like for me, I was like, I'm really starting to gain traction here with casting directors. I want to keep like working at those relationships. And at the time I wanted to stay in the city. I didn't want to go on a tour. I didn't want to leave New York. I felt like I'm finally got my foot in the door here. I don't want to just go immediately, And sometimes when people go on tour, they're gone for years, and I was like, I got stuff to do here. I just got my foot in the door, but then I prayed on it. I talked to people, talked to like mentors, people in the industry that I look up to, and all of the decisions were pretty much unanimous. And it was like, I think you should take this tour, So I ended up calling the casting director back and I said, hey, yeah, I, after he could, we had a great conversation and, and I was like, these are my issues and why I turned it down and blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, you just have to do a minimum of 6 months. Anything less than that is really looked down upon. So I went into Aladdin on tour thinking I'm only gonna be here for 6 months and then I'm leaving. No, man.
How long were you on tour?
I was on tour for almost 2 years. Every time I said in 2 months I'm leaving, I was like, I can't leave. This is the best job ever. Like ever. I'm traveling the country, doing what I love. I'm performing. I'm going to all of these beautiful houses, all these beautiful different meeting all these like dressers and hair people and everyone, like it just, the energy was there and it was what I loved. I had so much fun doing that show. It was everything that I had like prayed for. And so when I got there, I was like, and the 6-month mark hit and everybody was kind of looking at me like, so what you doing?
You leaving or you staying?
Exactly. And I was like, there's no way I'm leaving. And that just kept on happening. And yeah, we really like, became like I know it sounds like corny or cliche, but it was really a fam, like for real. I met some people that I love to death on that show, and even getting to work with or establish relationship with the producer and the choreographers and Casey Nicolau, the director, like he directs half of Broadway. Like this is a good situation, So yeah, it was great. And then COVID happened and here we are.
So COVID happened, and then as soon as COVID happened, oh wait, first of all, you didn't even address the fact that part of the time you was on tour, you were pregnant.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, sorry. I thought we were just talking about the professional.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I mean, because before we get to COVID and what happened at the beginning of COVID, it can't just be like, oh, Cairo didn't pop out of nowhere. So how was that How long were you on tour while you were still pregnant?
Basically my whole pregnancy. Like I got pregnant. I met my boyfriend. We were together and he was flying in and out and I was taking the vacation, and we were pretty much together a whole lot. For people who were in a long distance relationship, we were together a lot. Um Ended up getting pregnant on tour. Found out the day before my birthday. I had a Beyonce themed birthday party in Houston with Michael Callahan. There was another guy, one of our swings and dance captains. We shared the birthday, and so we were like, let's throw a party together. So yeah, found out the day before my birthday. Yeah, and after that, everything just like whirlwind, but it was chill, but it was a whirlwind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I found out I was pregnant in July, and then I stayed on tour until February 10th. So I was still performing on stage until in my third trimester. So they had like Disney, when I tell y'all that like their company, first of all, this had never happened before. They never had a girl in a show on tour get pregnant ever. So I made history, okay? But and I was so nervous to tell them. I was like, the costume designer, or she's gonna hate me so much. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like I was like really freaked out, but it was literally the opposite. Like everybody was so excited for me. They were I told our costume lady, I was like, I thought you were gonna hate me. And she was like, girl, what? Like, are you crazy? Absolutely not. And that was like the main thing I was worried about. I was like, oh my gosh, I see how hard these ladies work. They're gonna be pissed when they gotta take my costume from like this big to this big. But they did it. They hustled. They really, really did. And so yeah, I was performing with my belly like out to here into my third trimester, and I stopped at the end of December. And instead of sending me home, they decided, you're in the family, so we're going to keep you here. And so they let me, again, this had never happened before. They really like turned it out for me. They were like, we're going to just let you be like a glorified pit singer. And I was like, what do you mean? So basically, after December, I showed up to work in whatever I wanted. It could have been pajamas, my robe, literally whatever I wanted. And,
mm-hmm.
By the time they're playing the overture, had my microphone on my head, and they set up a little square backstage for me. And whenever I had to sing, I just had to stand in that square because it was like the quiet zone. Had to stand in the square, and I just sang backstage. So I was still performing, I was still singing.
Yeah.
I just wasn't physically on stage for the last 2 months of being pregnant, which was okay. I needed to, even though like me, I was still backstage like full out, like still just doing the dances and like doing everything at the stage and everything. So yeah.
Hold on, look.
Mm-hmm.
It's my young little ugly, so that's my nephew. Interrupting.
Auntie.
He's not a smart kid.
Nayan.
Yeah.
Hey, you gonna go say hi to me?
He looks a hot mess, okay? I don't think he wants to get in the camera right
Listen,
now.
Nayan,
Homeschool has been a little rough on him these last couple of weeks.
Listen, I get it.
You ain't gotta sing. When you send your kids to school, you gotta make sure they're looking their best. When they just sitting at home and ain't nobody gotta look at them.
Nope. Do what you want to do.
He's been looking rough.
For real. But yeah, so where was I?
So you was the last couple of months you were singing, you were singing backstage.
Yeah,
and then boom.
Everyone was taking care of me. I mean, the cast was so supportive. My manager, like company manager, stage manager. I mean, they took care of me so hard. I remember there was one day where like I think maybe I hadn't eaten enough or just something. I just like felt weird. And when I tell you they had called places, and one of our Jafar understudies ran out to the store to go get me some Gatorade, some snacks, it came back with like a little care package for me. And I'm like, okay, the overture is playing and you're still back here. Like, I mean, they held it down. You know what I mean? And I use it to my advantage too. I definitely, finesse it a little bit every now and then. But I'm pregnant to get something that I wanted from them. My friend, the cast. But yeah, so then I left tour February 10th. They threw a beautiful baby shower for me and my boyfriend in Cairo. And so left February 10th and then came to Pittsburgh with my family. And the intention was I had my baby. I was set to come back in 10 weeks to keep doing the tour. And then Corona said, no, you're not going back. In fact, none of y'all going back. Y'all are all going home.
And everyone's going. You go home, you go home. Everyone goes home.
Exactly. Like the day after I had my baby, because I had a terrible labor. It was 3 days long. I was out of it. It was really, really bad. I had a bunch of complications before and after. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, after the third day, finally had the baby, and I had no idea what was really going on in the world. And I'm texting.
Oh yeah, because I remember speaking to you after that, and I'm like, Olivia, we're on lockdown. Like, I was like, the world is over.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, yeah, another one of my friends from tour, he's like, yeah, we're all still. I think were they in Austin, Texas? He's like, yeah, we're all still out here, but the lockdown Trump issue. I was like, what are you talking about? A lockdown? They're like, have you not?
Because I remember finding out that she was going in labor. Wait, say that again.
I said people were like, Liv, you don't know what's going on? You haven't been paying attention. I was like, no, I haven't been paying attention. I've been having a child. Like, no, I don't know what's happening.
Out of my womb.
Right. And then I get on the internet and I'm like, ooh.
That's what happened. That's kind of how it was in the 2016 election, because I fell asleep before they announced the winner. When I woke up.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask, can they see me?
What? Not on live. And I mean, honestly, from the Zoom video. Yeah, from the Zoom video, I'm going to be mostly just taking the audio off. I'm going to use a few clips of like the actual video for like promo, but when I upload it on like Spotify and stuff like that, it'll just be the audio.
Okay.
So like I'll cut parts out like in and out and stuff like that. So, so Corona happened, and of course, like everyone, everything is shut down. So now you have a big move that you're planning right now. So like, what's next? Like, what are you like, do you have things that you just are looking to do? Are there some seeds already in the ground for some stuff that you're planning?
There's definitely some seeds that are in the ground. I've been being very strategic with everything moving forward. Getting ready to move to Atlanta with my family. My sister's coming, my nephew's coming too, boyfriend, obviously, baby, and one of my cousins. So yeah, I'm moving down there because I just, in terms of for acting, their market, I feel like would suit me a little better than New York, what I could get in New York. Like for me, it was kind of like with where I am in my career and the direction I want to go in.
Which is?
I want a TV, film, on camera work for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I've spent quarantine in classes with casting directors and acting coaches and done a bunch of stuff that I'm really proud of and that I have gained a lot from even in these last 10 months. Um, so yeah, sorry, I just got a text. In the world, my friend just asked.
It's really loud. And it like lingered for a second.
My bad, y'all. Um, but girl. Okay, sorry. She threw me off with that question. Anyway, so yes, moving to Atlanta, and that's happening in January, and I'm very, very, very excited. Like I said, seeds are planted. I'm starting to establish some connections and stuff like that. So I'm very excited for me to make that move and to see. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I was saying when I was figuring out, when I realized I don't really know if New York is the place that I want to be. I love New York. I got great things out of New York, but I'm like, for what I want to do, I think I need to shift my market a little bit. So it was like a LA or New York. And I thought back, I remember in undergrad, like right when we were getting ready for graduation. I don't know if I feel like she did this with a lot of people, but Professor Bay called me in her office and she said, okay, I have a question for you. And I said, okay, what's up? And she said, New York or LA? And I was like, I don't know because like da, da, da. And I'm like talking and talking and pulling out whatever these points. And she just looks at me and goes, LA. She said, you need to go to LA. And I was like, but at that time I was pretty in my heart set on New York. So I started explaining to her all the reasons why I thought New York was better. And she was like, okay, I still say LA for you, but follow your heart. Right. So fast forward post COVID or during COVID, I'm like, okay, New York or I'm sorry, LA or New York. I don't know. And I'm like, New York, I'm not, I don't necessarily think that it would serve me to go back to New York right now. LA is a big jump. Not like in terms of living wise. I have family there, like very close family that lives out there. I've been there a million bazillion times. But career wise, I've seen people fall into the trap, and it's not a trap because everybody's story is different. But the way it works out for a lot of people is there's LA is just a different ball game, and it's a lot harder from what I've heard.
But it's a lot more saturated. I mean, yeah, it's just
and a lot of the real heavy hitters who have been doing this for a million years are out there. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like I need to kind of work my way up. Like I want to get some really, really, really solid credits to myself before I take that leap. So eventually LA sounds good. Sounds great. Yeah. But for where I am and the trajectory that I see myself on, I feel like starting in a market like Atlanta as a Black woman, young adult Black woman.
Yeah.
That will be a
little bit better,
very beneficial place for me to really start working that muscle, So like I said, January, I'm coming for you, ATL. I'm excited. I'm ready. Let's do this.
That's a wrap. Again, thank you for tuning in. This is Let's Talk Truth, the podcast, where we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Another thank you to our special guest, Symone. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on all social media and streaming platforms at Let's Talk Truth, the podcast.